Welcome to another unit in this Excel course. This time I'm going to talk about the so-called goal search algorithm which is implemented in Excel. What can I use the goal search for? Well, I can use this, for example, to search for solutions to some kind of equations. So in other words, imagine the simple task you could have, like solve the following quadratic equation. Well, that's not so practical, but this is just for illustration's purpose. So I want to find a value which actually solves this equation. So how can I go about this? Well, first off, I'm setting my right side. My right side here, that's the 0. Then I basically set an x variable. So that's where my starting value for the x is. So for example, I'm telling him, try this with x equal to 0 first. And then I set the left side of the equation. So I actually calculate based on this x the left side. So here I'm basically calculating this value squared minus 1. So when I change the x, the left side of the equation changes. If I go to 1 or I go to minus 1, the equation is actually fulfilled. So I could even, to make it a bit clearer, write this down with an equality sign here in the middle. And well, as you saw, I tried out different values for x. That could be a bit tedious. So I want to have Excel try out all the different possible values for x for myself. And that's what the goal search is for. So I can go to data, and in data I can find here with the what if analysis, second part, the goal seek. That's actually what I want to do. So my set cell, I have to set a set cell, a value to value, by changing cell so and so. So to value, that's actually my right side. My set cell, that's the left side. So it basically reads left side equal to right side. That's why it's so important to have the right side being a number like 0. And then by changing cell, that's the x. So here I have him run through this, target value 0, he finds a value which is very close to 0. And well, his x for this solution is roughly 1. So I can imagine the solution would be perhaps 1. Okay, so he finds 1 as a possible solution to this, or approximate solution to this equation. But I saw that minus 1 also is a solution. So that's the downside. If I have more than one solution, he will only find me one of those solutions. And this always depends on the starting value. So for example, if I start with a value of minus 2, run the whole stuff again. So again, my set cell, left side, my target value 0, by changing cell this one, run this. Here I find as a solution minus 1. So it highly depends on my starting values. That's, as I said, a downside, but still it could be a really helpful tool, not only in solving or finding nulls for easy equations, but if you think, for example, if you have an investment, the investment yields some cash flows, and you want to know what the overall interest rate is. So the internal interest rate of those cash flows. Then basically you have to write this down as some kind of payment series with the corresponding interest rate always being the same but unknown. So you basically have an equation, not only with degree 2 but with a higher degree. and you're interested in finding a solution to this equation, which then would be the corresponding interest rate. So you're basically doing the same thing here, only with a more sophisticated left side. This gives you the internal interest rate of your cash flows. Well, this is just one of the examples where this goal search or goal seek can be used. Whenever you try to solve some kind of mathematical equation, single mathematical equation with single variable, that's the downside again to this, then you could use this goal seek. If it's more sophisticated, more variables, more equations, not only equalities but inequalities, then you might have to walk away from the what-if analysis and the goal seek and move on to the mathematical solver. So the Excel solver can solve more sophisticated problems, but more on this in a later session. So for this point, that's all on the goal seek. And well, I hope you enjoyed this short session. If you want to look for more insights on the solver, on additional stuff on Excel, feel free to visit the rest of the course or have a look at the corresponding playlist. I say goodbye and see you next time.